and I am a Rudy Poo candy ass.
I'm so surprised that I haven't done a video about this guy yet. I mean, he's Donald Trump's ace boon, Vice President J.D. Vance, a failed Marine, a failed senator, and now only one 79-year-old's heartbeat away from being President of the United States. He's also a bigot, a racist. And he's shown that in letting the Republican Party and the MAGA say everything they want about his wife, who happens to be of Indian descent. And let me remind you, this is a man who called Donald Trump America's Hitler. It seems he changed his mind because now he's Donald Trump's vice president. And to show you how low this man has sunken, I'm going to read you an article from John Pavlovitz. And it's going to be a very scathing one. J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, and MAGA make me want to apologize for being white. If irony were deadly, J.D. Vance would have expired this weekend. The Vice President stood on stage at Turning Point USA's annual conference and, without an atom of sarcasm or self-awareness, boldly declared to a crowd of white nationalists, knuckle-dragging MAGA cultists, and career racists that, quoting him,
"In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore."
Huh? Anymore? What kind of race-spinning, dog-whistle, strongman nonsense is this? Have I not been paying attention? When, in the 250-year history of this nation, has whiteness been a liability? When has it ever done anything other than buffer people from adversity, form a barrier against struggles other people experience as routine, open doors that would have remained locked, and afford a vast multitude of advantages that were never earned or deserved? Did I sleep through sections in history class where white people weren't allowed to vote? They weren't allowed to marry the person they loved? Where they weren't allowed to own land in this country? Where they weren't even allowed to serve in our military? The Vice President needs to help me catch up on what I missed, because I've been alive for 56 years, and up till now, I didn't realize that I was tyrannicized or downtrodden. People who are indoctrinated into the conservative culture warrior fever dream have the right to ask the question. In America, where 99% of our Supreme Court justices and 98% of our presidents have been white, in what reality is J.D. Vance living in? I'll tell you. He's living in the whitewashed, Republican-correlated, Fox News perpetrated bigoted misogyny of imagined persecution and non-existent oppression that has convinced generations of mediocre white people that the world is somehow conspiring against them, despite them being benefactors of every advantage. He's living in a world that runs on prejudice, tactics, and fear that weans people from birth into a false narrative of grievance that leaves them susceptible to hate speech and immune to critical thinking, believing they are the vulnerable, despite being the most protected. Vance, who also incorrectly said, and I quote, that America always will be a Christian nation, and that Christianity is America's creed, the shared moral language from the Revolution to the Civil War and beyond, is willfully regurgitating a grotesque white lie designed to stoke violence against people of color, Muslims, Jews, immigrants, and the LGBTQ. He is intentionally adding a corrosive fuel to the bonfire of rational hatred that elevated Donald Trump himself, perhaps the greatest example of our nation's history of ignorant, unqualified, and incompetent people being rewarded for their pigmentation, although he looks like an orange popsicle. As a white man raised in the Christian church, I lament the genocide of indigenous Americans and the abomination of slavery of black people that allowed my ancestors to colonize this nation through unthinkable violence and dehumanization. I fully grieve the legion of sins my forebears committed that have allowed me and those like me to step into this life ensconced in closeted privilege, but I've never felt a need to apologize for any of it. I've simply done my best to be aware of the horrifying legacy of institutionalized racism so I can partner in dismantling it and helping avoid us repeating it. I have continually become aware of the advantages my physical and ethnic background have afforded me so that I do not take them for granted. I've committed myself to learning the stories of truly marginalized people so that I will never succumb to the lie that I am among them. But I've never felt I needed to or was pressured to apologize for it. But after watching J.D. Vance, a man who is the walking embodiment of unmerited white reward, standing on the stage with self-righteous indignation and pretending he and other white people are somehow victims, I want to apologize. Seeing a barely literate two-bit con man, rapist, felon, sitting in the highest seat of power of our nation and avoiding any measure of legal or moral accountability because of the color of his skin, I want to apologize. Seeing through this administration's prolific bigotry, its calculated stereotypes, and its sick perversions of Christianity and its performative fight in a non-existent war against them, I want to apologize. This entire MAGA movement is a disfigured movement to American racism, and every decent white person should apologize for it, but more than that, they should confront it, oppose it, and destroy it. First of all, thank you, John Pavlovich, for this article. And you are absolutely right, because I'm going to hold their feet to the fire on this. What J.D. Vance said at Turning Point USA was completely a dog whistle to racism. He's not uniting America, he's dividing it. And he might as well say Sieg Heil or white power on that stage. Frankly, J.D. Vance, you are a coward, you are a racist, you are a son of a bitch, you are a monster, and I swear to the Lord of Hosts, you are nothing more than
a Rudy Poo Candy ass.
CTP, know what you've got, bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.